I'm Jennifer Soames with Instead Bodywork, delivering freedom from chronic pain and the joy that comes with moving your life forward. Now today I want to talk to you about and teach you how to sit in a more supportive way, because it is the holidays for one, it is winter in just a couple of days for two, and also sitting is something that every single one of us does. And the fact of our reality is that we have to sit a lot more than generations did before us. Whether that's commuting, whether that's sitting at your desk, we have to do all of it. So we might as well find a place that is really supportive for our bodies, that can help decrease the tension and the chronic pain that people get from being in this position day in, day out. So first off, how do we find a supportive posture for ourselves that allows us to breathe and doesn't make our bodies work too hard? Well, first thing is to find kind of each extreme of what is ideal. And so for that, I invite you to actually slouch back and around into your chair. This is where most of us land. And I've chosen this chair because I dislike everything about it other than the way that it looks. And even though I have it in my office, it's a great, useful tool to show that you can sit upright but without lumbar support. It's a really common misconception that you need lumbar support, and here, honestly, I don't even have it. So we actually don't need lumbar support to be able to sit upright. And of course this chair is not the right size for me. And the thing is, most chairs are not the right size for most people out there. So how do we not rely on the chair, but how can we find the support within our own bodies? Because to me, that is the first and foremost thing that we need to find a healthy and happy spine and keep you pain-free for a long time. So you have rounded yourself back and you have found your tailbone and your sacrum at the base of the spine. Easy enough. So then come to the front of your chair and allow the backs of your thighs to come off of the chair. Make sure that there's freedom there. And then start to arch your back, stick your bum out, and notice that, oh, here's the front of my sit bones. So now you've found both extremes, and you might notice that, okay, I have openness through my chest, but my back is really tight and compressed. Yeah, I find a lot of people are actually here because they're trying so hard to find openness here, but it's at the expense of their back. So let's find a happy medium. So just start to kind of rock forward and back, keeping the chest lifted, but just tilting and tucking at the pelvis. And just notice that when you go back, not only are you going back, but there's this element of down. And when you come back up, you find this tippy top point where you're your tallest before you start to go forward and also down. Because if we're not poised at the tippy top, then we're falling off in some direction, whether that's back or front or maybe to one side or the other. So if I had a pencil, imagine a pencil attached to my head, and it were right up against the wall, when I do this exercise, you might see that this pencil would create an arc type line, and where I am actually neutral in my spine for what's available to me in this very moment would be pretty near the tippy top. So when in doubt, try each end of extreme and then find that Goldilocks place right in between. Now, one other thing that I want to share with you is where your feet ought to be. Most men, I find just in my years of clinical practice, a lot of men sit with their knees out, right? Here's a really common pattern. But it's not always just for men. I do see women who sit like this as well. But then for a lot of women, I see legs crossed or knees together. Now, both of these things are just from social conditioning for the most part. But what I invite you to try is putting your two fists together like this and place them in between your two inner ankle bones. That's approximately the distance of your own hip joints. It is proportional to you. And we tend to think of our pelvis as, our hips rather, as the width of our pelvis. But our hip joints are actually much more narrow. And so that 2/5 width distance is going to give you a nice alignment between your feet, your ankles, your knees, and your hip joints, giving you that much more support through the front of you and keeping the spine supported not just from the back, but also from the front. And that's where we get a lot of that support. So to recap, find your little forward and back, tilt and tuck. Find that medium, happy Goldilocks place. Notice if you sit on one side more than the other. You might be surprised. And then also, where are your legs? Are they facing out? Are they rotated out? Are you used to crossing them? Are you used to squeezing them together? Can you find, again, a more neutral, happy middle ground? And do what is in the availability of your body in this moment. And know that if it's a lot of work for you to sit upright, that's okay. Just like with any exercise, the more you practice it, the easier it'll become. And when I work with clients in my practice, the work that we do together makes it even easier so that they can actually stand upright, sit upright, have an open chest without compressing their back and without having to think about it. Because ultimately, if you have to think about it a lot, that's too much work. So my goal for you and for all of my clients is to find the ability to sit and stand and to move with ease without having to think about things like shoulders down and back and do this and do that and oh, now breathe, oh, it's too much work, right? So play with all those things and just be mindful. Start to experience that awareness of how you're sitting. And if you'd like help with that, by all means, I am more than happy to assist you and to guide you through this one-on-one. There's also some more information on my ebook on my website, which is called Back to Life, is the name of the ebook. And there's a lot more insights into what about sitting on a ball and things like that. So do check that out if it interests you. And until then, I am your holistic health advocate delivering freedom from chronic pain, Jennifer Soames with In Stride Bodywork. Till next time, happy sitting and healthy sitting.